Today, my nephew Spencer and I are going to make tomato juice out of some tomatoes from the garden. It's one generation passing on skills to the next generation. So come along with us as we make up tomato juice.
Yep.
Let's go, Spence.
Yep, living the life.
My nephew is popping the stems off of the tomatoes so we can make up some tomato sauce. Okay, so what Spence is doing now is we've had the tomatoes in the water boiling, and you can see this tomato here is cracked. That means it's ready now to dip into cold water. Okay, Spence, take it over there and put it in a sink full of cold water. Both of them, you got it? And that's called blanching. And you do that with corn and anything. You just put it first in hot water, then in cold water. Some people actually put it in ice water, but I just use cold water and it works fine. But you should only have to have your tomatoes in there for a couple minutes. Make sense, Spence?
Yep.
All right. Okay. We'll do this until we have all of the tomatoes blanched, and then we'll take them and I'll pull those skins off. Okay, Spence, tell me the story about what tomato juice is good for.
So when you get sprayed by a skunk, you get to wash, like, tomato juice is good for taking out the skunk spray out.
Exactly. Thanks for that little tidbit, Spence. Okay, while Spence is stirring, we want to mention safety again. We're dealing with boiling water, so you want to be very careful. We would use a hot pad if he didn't have his spoon is cool on the end. But you always have to put safety first when dealing with a hot stove and hot water. Okay, so the next step in the process, Spencer is taking and getting the peels off the tomatoes. They just slide right off, don't they, Spence?
Yeah.
Put them in the container, and then we'll run it through the food processor to make it juice. Spence is doing a great job. Okay, while Spence is stirring, we want to mention safety again. We're dealing with boiling water, so you want to be very careful. We would use a hot pad if he didn't have his spoon is cool on the end. But you always have to put safety first when dealing with a hot stove and hot water. Okay, so Spence has peeled the peelings off of all the tomatoes. Now he's going to bring them over and put them on here by the food processor. There you go, Spence. And we're going to run them through the food processor next. Okay, now we're going to pulse it. So you can go ahead, Spence. That looks good. And we just left the seeds in. Okay, now I think we can take the top off, put a few more in there. Okay, Spence, now we take it and just dump it in our pan. That's good. Now you might hold that little white piece so it don't fall out in the pan. And then we'll put it back on the food processor. And it kind of will twist to the side. That's good. Now make sure it's twisted in. Okay, so Spence is now going to put some more tomatoes in there. And we'll keep doing this process till we've got all the tomatoes shredded up.
And make a nice delicious juice.
That's right. This will be good tomato juice. Step-by-step instruction on how to make tomato juice.
Well, I call it V8.
V8 juice. That's good. Spence has got this food processor figured out. Perfect. Okay, so now we went down to the basement and got a box of fruit jars. We got pints, because a pint's about all you need when you're doing sauce. And we're going to get the jars clean, and then we're going to, we're heating up the sauce, and then we will water bath it. And that's where you just put it in a big pot of hot water that covers it for I think 15 minutes. Okay, we'll carry on. Okay, Spence has dug out the big water bath canner. Show us what it looks like inside, Spence. It has a tray that so the jars are not fitting right on the bottom. And I think you can put maybe 9 pints in there. We'll just have to check it out. Everybody needs a water bath canner. Spence, the little blue thing there has a magnet on the end, and you pick your lids up out of the hot water with that. Yep. This other one that's flat, you stir your tomatoes in the jar to get all the bubbles out. This green thing is a funnel so that you can pour it directly into the jar without making a big mess. And the last one is a jar lifter, and that lifts your jars out of the hot canner when you're finished. All utensils you need for making tomato juice. Okay, first thing Spence is going to do is check each one of the jars for cracks. And you just run your finger around the top, make sure that it didn't get cracked in shipping or while it's being stored. Okay. And then he's going to take his funnel and he's going to ladle up some juice into the jar. Okay. We're going to do that times 9 times. And you fill it up to, you have an inch headspace, which is to that bottom rim. I don't think we'll need 9 jars, but you never know. We'll see. And then when he has that jar full, he's going to take the little stirrer stick, and that gets all the bubbles out. Just a little more. Okay, take your funnel and put it on the next one. And then take your little stir stick and the small end down, and you just stir that jar. And that gets all the bubbles out. And we'll do that with each one of these 9 jars. Okay, now he's gonna put a tablespoon of lemon juice in each pint, or we could have put 1/4 of a teaspoon of citric acid in each one, but I don't like putting acid in anything, but so we'll do a tablespoon of lemon juice. And then what he's gonna do is take his little stir stick and he's gonna stir each one.
Yep.
Now don't forget which one you put lemon juice in, which one you haven't.
This one.
Yeah, we can stir all of them at the end, so if we get all the lemon juice put in.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, now we take and stir each one, and that gets the bubbles out, the air bubbles. And then after he stirs them, he's got lids in boiling hot water over there. And first thing he's going to do is wipe down the top of each jar to make sure it's clean. Then he's going to put the hot lid on, then he'll put the cap on, and then they'll be ready to go into the water bath canner. That's exactly right. Do the canning process. Okay, we did read that we could add 1 to 2 teaspoons of sugar to enhance the flavor if we wanted. Thing is, I don't have any sugar here, so we're going to not add the sugar. Okay, so we've taken a damp rag and we're going to go around the top of the rim so we know it's clean. Then he's going to pick up his little magnetic lifter and he's going to lift up a jar flat. Let the water drain off of it. There you go. And you're going to sit that right on top of it. You have to be very careful, safety first, because they are hot. You'll probably have to hold that down with your finger. And then you're going to put a band on it.
Yep. One of these.
See, yep. Put a band on it. We're going to do that with all 9 of them. And as Spencer tightens the lid, I tell him they need to be grandma tight. Tight enough grandma can get them off, not tight enough that you have to have somebody help you take them off. So not overly tight, grandma tight. Now he's going to put them in the water bath canner, and he already has 9 in there, I think, or 11. Yeah, I'll probably have to help you. Don't push it because we don't want to break it. Okay, now Spencer is going to put water in there to cover the jars. And then we'll put the lid on it and we'll process them for 15 minutes. And then they will be left to cool and then we'll be done. So now Spence is going to take the tomato juice out of the hot canner. Safety first. Take your jar lifter. Make sure you got a good grip on the jar. You're going to carefully lift it up. Spence, get it around the bottom to where it's actually touching the jar. You want the jar lifter actually around the base. There you go. That way you've got a good grip on the jar. Set it very carefully on your towel. Okay, very good. Then get the next one. You got a lot of steam working, so you got to be careful there. There you go. Put it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How many we got left? One more?
We got one more left.
10. Okay. And you'll hear those jar lids starting to pop as they seal. That's how you know they sealed. So that is the completion of how to make tomato juice.
Yep.
Way to go, Spence.